The Ravens season has been nothing short of a roller coaster, and if you've been paying attention, you know that the drama isn't just happening on the field. It's spilling over into every corner of the team. And it all starts with the offensive line struggles that have dominated the conversation for weeks. Now, the spotlight has been squarely on Daniel Faalele. And it's hard to talk about the Ravens' offensive line without mentioning his name, because he's become the poster child for what's gone wrong. People like Shannon Sharpe have not held back in their critique, delivering some of the harshest evaluations you've heard in a long time. And it's not just about stats, it's about how his play impacts the team, the season, and the perception of the Ravens nationally. Sharpe has gone as far as saying things about Faalele that are both shocking and honestly a little brutal. Comments like he can't block the sun out of his eyes, let alone another player, make headlines not just because of the wording, but because they underline a bigger issue. The struggles on the line have been persistent, and the solutions from the coaching staff haven't come close to what the team needs. Faalele's performance has had its moments. Don't get me wrong, there have been flashes where you can see potential, where you can see a player with raw ability trying to make an impact. But for every one of those plays, there's been another moment where it's painfully clear that he's not executing at the level this team requires, especially when it comes to pass protection. The numbers back it up. His pass block grade is consistently at the bottom of the roster. And while it's not fair to pin the entirety of the offensive line's issues on a single player, Faalele's struggles have been a recurring theme week after week. And that pattern doesn't go unnoticed by analysts, fans, or former players who aren't afraid to speak their minds. The criticism isn't coming out of nowhere, it's based on tangible performance issues. And when you combine that with the team's reluctance or inability to make significant changes at the position, it becomes a story that extends beyond just one player. The controversy around him has also spilled into interactions off the field, particularly in how he handles media obligations. Sharpe and others have highlighted the importance of being professional in both victory and defeat, and Faalele's recent actions like nodding to reporters and walking off without engaging in a full post-game conversation have been interpreted by some as a lack of accountability. In professional sports, part of the responsibility is handling the media, even when things haven't gone your way. And the Ravens have seen a handful of players step up in those moments. When some veterans leave the responsibility to rookies or shy away from these situations, it can create a perception of uneven leadership within the locker room. That's not to say Faalele is solely responsible for these optics, but it's clear that how he's handling both on-field performance and off-field responsibilities contributes to the broader narrative surrounding the team, and the coaching staff hasn't escaped scrutiny either. John Harbaugh and his assistants have made the decision to keep Faalele in positions where mistakes are glaringly obvious, which raises questions about roster construction, player development, and strategy. Some argue that the backups might be even worse, and perhaps that's true. But the continued reliance on a struggling player without implementing a more robust solution has left fans frustrated. The reality is, while Faalele has been a focal point, the offensive line as a whole has been inconsistent, and each member shares some responsibility for how the unit has performed. When you look at metrics like pass blocking grades or run blocking efficiency, the numbers tell a story that aligns with what observers have seen on tape. There's a lot of room for improvement. And until changes are made, the struggles are going to persist beyond individual performance. The Ravens season has been affected by other factors, including refereeing decisions that have made national news, controversial calls in recent games, including unnecessary roughness penalties, and disputed touchdowns, have altered outcomes and amplified frustration. While it's easy to point fingers at officiating, it's important to recognize that these moments are part of the game, and they test a team's resilience and preparation. Harbaugh has publicly discussed the league's admissions of mistakes, and while the Ravens weren't given retroactive wins, the acknowledgement of errors only highlights how fine the margins can be in professional football. A single call, a single misstep, can shift momentum and affect results. But the team's consistency in executing fundamental assignments is what ultimately defines success. There's also the human element to consider. Faalele came into the NFL as a raw prospect from Minnesota, a player with potential but one who required development, moving him from tackle to guard placed him in an unfamiliar position, and the adjustment period has been challenging. Fans who were initially high on the pick have had to recalibrate expectations, seeing potential clash with reality as the season has progressed. At the same time, other members of the team have shown growth. stepped into leadership roles and handled media obligations in ways that reinforce professionalism, highlighting the contrast with those who are still finding their footing. The narrative surrounding Khalil is part performance-based, part perception, and part the inevitable scrutiny that comes with playing in the NFL. For a team with high expectations, the national attention the Ravens are receiving now isn't just about wins and losses, it's about storylines, personalities, and the way the team navigates adversity. Every play, every interaction, and every coaching decision is being analyzed and critiqued. And in a league as competitive as the NFL, there's no room for complacency. Khalil's struggles have become emblematic of the Ravens' offensive line issues, but they also serve as a microcosm for the challenges the team faces in maintaining consistency, developing talent, and responding to pressure. Analysts like Sharp have weighed in strongly, sometimes with humor, sometimes with scathing honesty, but always with a focus on the realities of professional football. The lessons here go beyond a single player. They're about team accountability, preparation, and the ongoing pursuit of excellence in a league where every detail matters. As the season continues, the pressure on the Ravens to find solutions only increases. Fans and analysts alike are watching closely to see how the team responds, whether through lineup adjustments, coaching decisions, or the development of young talent. Khalil's role will remain central to the conversation, but it's clear that the broader issues on the offensive line cannot be ignored. Every snap, every play, and every game is an opportunity for growth, adjustment, or further scrutiny. And the Ravens know that the margin for error is slim. The combination of performance challenges, media scrutiny, and national attention creates an environment where the team's next moves will be dissected and discussed at length, making each decision critical for the remainder of the season. Moving forward from the offensive line struggles, it's impossible to ignore how much the Ravens' season has been shaped by split-second plays and officiating decisions that, at times, have felt completely out of their control. Take the Week 14 matchup against the Steelers, for example. That game has become a case study in how a few controversial calls can dramatically shift momentum and outcomes. One of the biggest talking points was the unnecessary roughness penalty on Travis Jones, a call that the NFL later admitted was incorrect. That penalty directly impacted the game, essentially giving the Steelers a first down and leading to a touchdown. That changed the course of the contest in a game decided by a single possession. That's monumental. Fans and analysts alike were left shaking their heads at the post-game acknowledgement. The league admitted the error, but the result stood. It's a frustrating reality for the team and for anyone watching the sport. With a keen eye for fairness and execution, the Ravens didn't lose because of that one play, of course, but it underscored how thin the margin is in the NFL when combined with ongoing offensive line issues, questionable execution in key moments, and missed opportunities in the passing game. A single call can feel like the straw that breaks the camel's back. John Harbaugh has been candid about the frustration these moments create. Speaking with reporters, he acknowledged conversations with the league office and admitted that, even after discussing the calls extensively, the explanations didn't make much sense. That's part of the complexity in professional football. Rules are interpreted in real time, and the margin for error, both by officials and players, is microscopic. The Isaiah Likely play, where there was confusion about whether he stepped out of bounds or completed the reception properly, is another example. Harbaugh noted that even he wasn't fully comfortable with the explanation, highlighting just how convoluted these situations can become for the players on the field. These moments test focus, resilience, and the ability to move past setbacks almost immediately. The Ravens, however, have seen a mixture of responses to these pressures. Some players rise to the occasion, demonstrating leadership and poise, while others struggle to maintain composure or to execute the fundamentals consistently. These dynamics contribute to the broader narrative of a team in transition, balancing youth and experience, raw talent and professional polish. While the team navigates these challenges, the impact of roster decisions looms large. Khalil's situation is emblematic of a broader issue in how the Ravens have managed offensive line depth and development. Shifts from tackle to guard, rotations, and limited adjustments suggest a team still experimenting and searching for the right formula. Even when backups have been given opportunities, such as Emory Jones or Andrew Voorhees, performance has been inconsistent. It becomes clear that the problems aren't isolated, they're systemic, stemming from a combination of player readiness, coaching strategy, and the pressure of competing in a league where every opponent exploits weaknesses without hesitation. Offensive line struggles are particularly visible in a league that values both pass protection and run game effectiveness. When a unit falters, the ripple effects are immediate. Quarterbacks have less time to throw. Running backs encounter clogged lanes, and play calling becomes constrained. The Ravens season illustrates this perfectly, where each misstep or missed assignment magnifies the consequences of every snap. What's particularly striking about this situation is the way former players and analysts have dissected it publicly. Shannon Sharpe's commentary may have been blunt, but it reflects a broader reality in professional sports. Accountability and performance are inseparable. His critiques, ranging from humor to pointed observations, shine a light on what fans and insiders alike have noticed when evaluating players. It's not just about isolated stats, it's about their ability to handle pressure, adapt to challenges, and contribute consistently to team success. Filial's struggles serve as a cautionary tale of what can happen when raw talent meets insufficient preparation or placement in roles that may not maximize potential. At the same time, the coaching staff bears responsibility for identifying issues, experimenting with solutions, and ultimately ensuring that players are set up to succeed, rather than to fail repeatedly in high-pressure situations. Beyond the field, these discussions touch on professionalism, character, and leadership. Players who embrace responsibility, speak to the media, and engage in the scrutiny that comes with professional sports demonstrate a level of maturity and accountability that fans and analysts expect. When others falter, it becomes a talking point not just because of what happens on the field, but because of what it signals about preparation, commitment, and team culture. The Ravens have seen varied responses to these expectations. Some veterans consistently rise to the challenge, handling both success and adversity with composure, while others struggle with the pressures of public scrutiny. The contrast is especially stark when evaluating younger players or those with less experience navigating the professional environment. It's a reminder that being an NFL player is not just about talent, it's about preparation, poise, and the ability to execute under scrutiny from fans, media, and league analysts alike. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Lamar Jackson has become the center of a storm swirling around the Baltimore Ravens, and insiders say the atmosphere inside the franchise has shifted dramatically. What began as a normal post-game locker room routine reportedly turned into a moment that left players stunned and staff whispering in hallways, according to people close to the team. Jackson exploded in a way no one expected, unleashing a burst of emotion so intense that several teammates were left frozen in place. One source described the scene as a shockwave, claiming that nobody on the roster accepted what he did, and that tension has been lingering ever since. No one is sharing specifics, but the tone of the whispers suggests that Jackson's outburst went well beyond a simple disagreement or heat of the moment frustration. Some say it was directed at the offensive unit. Others insist it was aimed at coaches. What's clear is that the episode has ignited conversations about leadership, responsibility, and whether the locker room is truly aligned behind its star quarterback. The Ravens, historically known for keeping internal matters quiet, are suddenly dealing with raised eyebrows around the league. Rival players are reportedly exchanging messages, questioning whether Baltimore's cornerstone might be feeling the pressure more than ever. Observers who saw Jackson during media availability noted a peculiar mix of intensity and unease, as if the situation is still simmering beneath the surface. Inside the organization, the mood is described as careful. Teammates are choosing their words with precision, and coaches appear to be walking a delicate line, trying to cool tempers without inflaming the situation further. Some veterans are said to be urging unity, while younger players quietly wonder what this means for the team's chemistry moving forward. Jackson's competitive fire has never been questioned, but this latest eruption has raised new uncertainties, and Baltimore now finds itself navigating a rumor-filled haze that refuses to settle. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.